According to the human rights group Contrast, there are 55 inmates on Indonesia's death row convicted on drug-related offenses. 20 of those are Indonesian citizens, 35 are foreigners. That includes 7 from Nigeria, the country with the most citizens awaiting execution in Indonesia, and 1 American. Andreas Harsono is a Human Rights Watch researcher in Indonesia, and he joins us from Jakarta via Skype. Andreas, good to have you with us. Is there any hope for these foreigners on death row?
There are always hope. If international campaign, Indonesian NGOs campaign can always sway the judiciary and also the government not to execute those death row convicts. But again, it is not easy. International pressure from the UN, from Brazil, from Australia do help to pressure Indonesia to rethink about their death execution policy.
And this death execution policy is because the new Indonesian president, Joko Widodo, says that there's a drug crisis, that's a national emergency. 50 people reportedly die every day from drug abuse in Indonesia. To put that in context, the CDC here in the U.S. says more than 100 die in the United States every day. That is significantly more overdose deaths per person than in Indonesia. Have things, though, gotten much worse there?
Well, that statistic that was quoted by the president is still being debated. Their methodology was not sound. That's why the number, which is lower than the U.S., is considered to be quite problematic. That's why human rights activists and also some academicians, they argue that the president is creating quite a hysteria by saying the number. And of course, Indonesian media took that quote and then blasted on their TV screen, on their newspapers, that Indonesia is in a drugs crisis. I don't think Indonesia is in a drug crisis. There is a problem of drugs here. And of course, it should be dealt. But we should deal with that with proper legal enforcement.
So is the president doing this for any political reasons?
It is quite popular, actually, to execute drug traffickers in Indonesia. So maybe it is quite political.
So the majority of Indonesians do support the death penalty as it pertains to drug cases?
According to some survey, Indonesians usually support executions for those involved in corruptions and also in drugs trafficking. So those 2 categories are the highest of all public survey in Indonesia. But so far, there is no person who is involved in corruption to be executed.
And this is a change, though, for Indonesia, because Indonesia has only been a democracy for 15, 16 years. And the country, over that period of time, has put an average of less than 2 people to death every year.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It is a problem here. Well, Indonesia is a new democracy. Civil liberties, human rights, legal reform is still not on the top of the priority. Indonesia has mechanical democracy. Indonesia has electoral democracy. But if you take a look into the problems, corruptions, briberies, vote buying are quite rampant in Indonesia.